So someone's transition begins and ends when they tell you, because it's completely unique for everyone.
When I reflect on what's happened, it just feels a massive rush.
10% of the population are LGBT, which means that 10% of this school are LGBT.
I deeply question whether this should be happening or being encouraged in children as young as 6, 7, 8, potentially down to 4, according to the training that Mermaids gave us. It is with deep sadness and grief that I have come to the decision to resign my licence with effect from the 1st of August 2019. You'll be aware of my increasing concerns communicated to you by letter and by meetings. This decision has finally been confirmed by recent events at a primary school in the parish, in which the transgender activist group Mermaids was invited to give training in what is a VC school. I guess ever since I've been a follower of Jesus Christ, I've wanted to follow him in his grace and his truth, always be loving towards other people and always to be speaking the truth and concerned for the truth. And so I guess as a governor in the local school, when I was informed that there would be a transitioning of a child in the primary school, I was really concerned that we're thinking about how to have a loving concern for this child and all the other children in the school. That was my heart's desire. I'm not prepared to be part of an organisation that is so clearly unconcerned for the welfare and rights of Christian children, nor of other faiths or philosophies which disagree with transgenderism. The training of Mermaids was so far from Christian truth, as well as biological, legal and theological fact, that I wept, literally. Well, I guess this is very new for everybody, and particularly within Church of England schools. And so as a Christian minister, I'd be keen to uphold Christian values in our approach to a child that was suffering from gender dysphoria. I see this as a really important issue for the safeguarding and welfare of the child involved and all the children in the class or in the school. So I would have anticipated that due process would have given governors opportunity to really think things through. So to have only 7 days is just not acceptable. As far as I understand it, the head teacher had known about this since September of 2018, and yet we had a meeting on the 7th of March, and we agreed as a governing body, or certainly we minuted, that we should be balancing our concerns for the child involved and for all other children within the school, whatever faith position they had, whatever philosophy, and that we could move forward together as a governing body. So I was encouraged by that and assumed that when we then next met on the 25th of March, that we'd be continuing to go down this route. I think what was not made clear was why we had to rush. So on the 25th of March, which was the meeting following that extraordinary meeting on the 7th, I had anticipated we'd be able to consider our procedure. I had anticipated there'd be further discussion, but instead what happened is that we were just told that there was a certain way of approaching things and we could have no say. The advice that had been given by the local authority, the advice that had been given by the diocese and by trade union representation suggested, or the head teacher said, that we couldn't communicate with parents, we couldn't discuss this as governors, we couldn't form procedure, we couldn't consider any of the practical issues. We just had to go ahead as we were told. We had no documentation as to a process to recognise a child being gender dysphoric and needing to transition socially or socially towards then medical in time. We were given no evidence of the advice that was given to our head teacher, nothing in writing. other than then subsequent responses to the letters that we felt that we had to send, to try and start a process whereby every stakeholder in the school could be listened to, and we could have a procedure which reflected everybody equally and would be something which would be for the best interest in for the child concerned and for everybody else. But we weren't allowed to do that. We were told what we had to do and then forced to follow it.
If you are assigned male at birth and you identify as a woman and you're attracted to men, you're straight. I never needed to be shown my birth certificate. Yeah? I just knew I was a girl. You know who you are from a very young age. Disclosures: to whom, by whom, how and when. Unless specifically stated by that family, everyone else just gets told the pupil you knew was this name and this pronoun, from this day will be this name and this pronoun. And that's just staff who interact with children. Governors just get told we have a pupil who is socially transitioning, and that is it.
It's deeply concerning in a faith school that a particular view which many Christians would struggle with is being followed without question. There wasn't the opportunity for disagreement. I tried to express my disagreement but was quickly shut down. If that's where schools are heading, that staff cannot disagree, that governors cannot disagree, then we're training our children to stop thinking. And for me, that means that truth will be sacrificed. Is it okay if I could share some different viewpoints that staff could take away, just so that I'm not asking?
No, I don't think so, John. I'm sorry, it's training today. It's not time to share your viewpoint.
It's not my viewpoint, it's a scientific.
Okay, John, now
viewpoint.
is not the time. If you want to do that, we'll call another meeting for you to do that for staff who want to attend. Now is not the time for that.
It's difficult to know where the pressure is coming from and how the pressure is being exerted. I think for some, there's a perceived pressure from our culture, the Equality Act, that we have to accept this. Certainly the way I was treated, I think, would make other people afraid. I didn't find it at all easy being on the receiving end of some of the comments, some of which were pretty dismissive of my thoughts. So in a context where discussion is being suppressed, where the law is being used to force people to go down a particular route, freedom is being lost. And so in that context, people are going to stay quiet.
You are all now honorary mermaids, whether you want to be or not.